Hey there, Taku here, I hope you're doing well. Has there ever been a product that you thought was so unique, so innovative, that you had to see it for yourself to see what it was all about? It's not so often that I feel this way, but recently I came upon a photography related product that made me feel exactly like that. So after a little bit of research, I ended up buying this product to see what it was all about. What is this product? It is the SMDV Flip Bounce 44, and it's exactly what's lighting me up in this video. SMDV may not be very well known here in North America, but it is a Korean company that makes photography related products. Now, right off the bat, you'll notice that this Flip Bounce is not your traditional looking softbox. It's actually more like a reverse softbox or umbrella, so to speak. Now, there's two key points that I really like about this product. When I first saw this softbox on YouTube, I immediately thought of one thing, the Gary Fong Lightsphere. Does anybody remember that? For those of you who don't, it's this thing right here. This top part here, that's on my off-camera flash here, and I used it all the time for my event photography because I really like the light that it produces coming out of it. It essentially takes the light source from my flash and spreads the light beam throughout the entire frame, producing a very soft, diffuse, and spread out even light on my subject. And I often actually wondered that when I was taking the photos with this Gary Fong Lightsphere, that people actually thought that my name was Gary Fong. In any case, the softbox here and the Lightsphere do essentially the same thing. It essentially takes the light source, bounces it to the top of this light modifier, and bounces the light back, evenly spreading the light across the entire room and onto the subject. In the case of my Lightsphere here, we have a translucent top here, so part of the light actually goes on top as well. However, the top of the modifier here is black, so it does reflect all of the light back onto the subject and the room itself. Now, the back of this light modifier is actually a shiny silver material, so it does give off a shinier reflection to the light, but then that light is then diffused by this white umbrella here, and since this white part here is spread out, the light actually is spread more outward into the entire frame, entire room, therefore giving off a little bit more of a diffused light source to your subject, as you can see that it's giving off on my face right now. Now, this particular umbrella here is 44 inches wide. They do have additional sizes available. I believe one is 120 and then the other is a 28 inch wide reflector. So this 44 inch essentially gives off a decent amount of real estate translucent area here, enough to actually light this entire room up here. This light source that I'm using now is simply the Nanlite FS-300B, and the power is only at 60%, 5600 Kelvin. And because this light modifier is meant to spread out the light into the environment, there is no grid available for this, and obviously it will be difficult to implement one even if they had one. Now, this design isn't without its flaws. For one thing, I don't like how thin the material is. I think it's a little bit too thin for the price point at it's at, and I'll break down the price point a little bit later, but you do need to be careful that when you're grabbing the light modifier that you don't accidentally poke it with anything sharp, otherwise you might risk it of getting it torn, simply because the fabric is so thin, both on the umbrella side here and on the top flat surface there. So just as a comparison, I have a couple of other softboxes here. The first one is the Profoto RFI Octabox, and the material that this is made out of is super thick and sturdy. So again, Profoto is very thick. And then the other one I have is the Nanlite parabolic softbox here, and again this is thinner than the Profoto one, but I can feel that it's actually a little bit thicker than what we have on the SMDV here, just because this is two layered, one layer on the inside, one layer on the outside. And I also believe that the Nanlite softbox is not as fragile as this one might be, and that's just because we have Velcro openings here on around the softbox itself, so that the fabric is not always under constant tension. On the other hand, the SMDV softbox, you'll see that there's actually no openings around the softbox itself, so the fabric that's stitched together on the top here and all around is always under constant tension, making it feel like it's a little bit more fragile. That's of course until you break it down so that the tension is relieved when you break it down for teardown and setup. Speaking of setup and teardown, the second point I like about this softbox is the setup and teardown. Now SMDV came up with a very unique and efficient way of setting up this softbox. Check it out. To set up, all you need to do is pull this up and you're done. To tear down, all you need to do is push this latch or lever and the tension releases. Now that's a fraction of the time that it takes for me to assemble any one of these softboxes. Then just store it in this handy carrying case that is also included with this softbox. I couldn't believe at first that everything, including the bracket itself, fits all inside this one thin bag. Speaking of the mounting bracket, I got the Bowens mount, but they also have mounts for all the other major manufacturers. And changing these mounts is just as easy as assembling the softbox. All you need to do is pull this lever, flip up the cap, take out the bracket and insert a new bracket in there, and then just fold the cap back on and you're ready to go, just like that. Now this design is very similar to Profoto's newer softboxes, and that's because I was told that SMDV is actually the manufacturer that makes these softboxes for Profoto. Now, who is this softbox for? It may not be for everyone, but because of its unique design, it can be very useful for specific scenarios. For one, where space is at a premium. As you can see, my ceiling height is very low, so being able to actually lift this light so that the top part is flush against my ceiling enables a lot more space between myself and the light itself. If I had a softbox, for example, and I were to bring the light up, you'll notice that actually the softbox is way too large and it will be literally right in front of my face without being able to have any space between myself and the light itself. Number two, when you want to scatter the light and light up the entire space. So as you can see here, the softbox is doing a really good job of providing overall ambient lighting and not so much of a directional lighting, and that's just because of the nature and design of this softbox. So if you want to be able to light up the entire space and provide a beautiful diffused lighting onto your subject, then this is probably what you're looking for. You might also be able to use this softbox for when you want to mimic sunlight coming into the room. All you need to do is push this light towards the wall, push it flush against the wall out of your camera, and then now you have a beautiful soft light coming in from the side of the room, mimicking beautiful soft sunlight. Now there is one accessory that's available with the softbox, and that is with this sheet. So as you can see here, it's a fairly large sheet with a reflective interior so that it reflects the light towards wherever you're pointing it to. Now on the top here is a Velcro addition here. So essentially what you want to do is attach this sheet onto one side of the softbox so that you're directing the light towards the subject on the other side. Now keep in mind that it is a sober reflective side, so you are going to get a little bit more of a shinier specular reflection instead of a diffused light source on your subject matter. And it just comes off as easily as that. Now this is a separate purchase, so you may have to think for yourself to see whether it is worth it or not. But if you ask me, I think it is another addition to make this light a little bit more versatile than it already is. So that's why I ended up purchasing it, just so that I can have the added ability to be able to reflect the light towards my subject rather than actually spread it all around the entire room. Now the fabric itself is fairly thin as well, so you do have to accommodate for that. It's thin and lightweight, and considering the size, is actually very lightweight, so I'm very appreciative of that. Now I hinted earlier that this was a pricey purchase, and that it was, and that's only because I live in Canada. Now I purchased this from an official SMDV distributor in the United States called Spring Distribution. I'll link their website in the description below. When I purchased this in December of 2024, they had it on sale for $149.95 US, including the amount of your choice. Now the additional reflective sheet was an extra $60 US, so in total it came out to be $209.95 US dollars plus shipping. Had I lived in the United States, it would have been free shipping, which is great. But I live in Canada, so I had it shipped over to Canada. Now that's an extra $54 US for the shipping fee, for a total of $263.95 US dollars. That translated to approximately $389.59 Canadian. Now we add on the import duties and taxes that are added once the product crosses the border. That's another $52.37 Canadian. So when we add that up together, it's a total of $441.39 Canadian for the flip bounce 44, along with the additional reflective sheet. So is this for you? Well, only you can answer that question. But I particularly enjoy this product because of its unique design, the quick setup and teardown, and because of the beautiful diffused light that it provides the subject. All reminiscent of my Gary Fong Lightsphere that I frequently use and still use right now. So you have to weigh the pros and cons depending on what your use case might be and if this might suit your workflow as well. If you have any questions about this SMDV Flip Bounce 44, please write it in the comments below and I'll be happy to answer them for you. Thanks for watching my video. I hope to see you in the next one. Take care.